Hey everyone, today we have a great interview experience from one of our subscribers Abhijit. And guys, he recently cracked the Java backend developer interview at Mastercard and he shared his complete interview experience with me, and I will add his LinkedIn profile as well in the description below so you can confirm many things from him. Okay? And he has around 4.5 years of experience working with Java, Spring Boot and microservices. And guys, if you also want to share your interview experiences with us, just fill out the form in the description below. We would love to feature you the next. Okay? And guys, as you know, along with every question, I'll also explain what answer the interviewer was expecting so you get the proper context and understand how to approach similar questions in your own interviews. Okay? Before we start, if you are preparing for Java or Spring Boot interviews, hit that subscribe button right now because I keep sharing real interview questions from the top companies just like this one. So guys, basically Abhijit applied through Naukri and he got a call from HR within a few days for the screening round. Okay, it was a normal HR discussion. His background, his current project, notice period, and expected CTCs were discussed. And after that, they scheduled his technical rounds. And guys, in his case, there were total 3 rounds. First was technical round, second was technical plus project discussion, and third was managerial round. Okay. So guys, now let's get started with the round one. And round one was pure technical round. The interviewer went straight into the Java fundamentals and concurrency. So the first question was, what are the different memory areas present in Java? So guys, Abhijit said this was a simpler starter question just to check the basics before going deeper. So guys, the expected answer is JVM memory has heap for objects, stacks for each threads, method calls and local variables, method area or meta space for class metadata and static variables, PC register for the current instructions per thread, and native method stack for JNI calls. Guys, then he asked something more real world question. Question was, your production app freezes intermittently under load. So how would you determine whether it's a deadlock or a long GC pause or a thread starvation? So Abhijit said this is where the interviewer wanted to see his debugging approach, not just a theory. Okay. And the expected answer would be, take a thread dump first. Deadlock shows up as clear cyclic logs. Check GC's logs for long pause times if the freeze lines up with GC activity. If threads are alive but just waiting on a pool, that's thread starvation. Check thread pool size and queue length. Okay. Next question was, a counter incremented by multiple threads inside a synchronized method is still producing wrong totals. So what are the possible causes? This is a very important question. So the expected answer would be, we have to first check if the whole method is really synchronized or just part of it. Also check if multiple objects are being used as logs instead of one shared log, or if the counter itself has a non-atomic read modify write happening outside the synchronized block. Okay. Guys, then he moved, how can a Java application leak memory even though the JVM has garbage collection? So this is a tricky question. And also give a real example. So here Abhijit gave a practical example instead of just a textbook definition, guys. And that's exactly what interviewer wanted. So the expected answer would be, memory leaks happens when objects are still referenced somewhere. So GC cannot collect them even though the app doesn't use them anymore. Okay. Common examples are static collections that keeps growing, unclosed resources, or listeners that are never removed, right? The object is unused but still reachable. Are you getting my point? And guys, before moving to the next question, I will like to share one important thing with you. Actually, Abhijit prepared from our interview preparation kit. So let me tell you, this interview preparation kit has 4 main parts. First is complete interview preparation material. It is a step-by-step material made by me, expert and MNC's interviewers. 99% of the questions asked in interviews are covered in it already. Second is 2 real enterprise client projects, code and video recorded sessions are there and you can add this in your resume. Okay. Third is lifetime chat support. Here you can ask your doubts anytime. Fourth is referral support. Here we help you to get referred to the top MNCs. So guys, basically the material is organized as per your experience level and covers Java, Spring Boot, Spring Security, Spring Data JPA, microservices, Kafka, Maven, Git coding questions, 3 coding questions, and many more. You can buy just the complete interview preparation material or the full interview preparation kit with project supports and reference. Okay, I have added the links in the description below. So now moving to our interview experience. So guys, last question of this technical round was how do default method let an interface evolve without breaking existing implemented classes? Okay, so here Abhijit explained it with a simple before and after comparison. Before Java 8, adding a new method to an interface broke every class that implemented it, right? Default methods let us add a method with a body directly in the interface, right? So old implementing classes still compile and work without being forced to override the new method. Okay. So let's start with the round two. Abhijit said the first 30 minutes were just about his project. The interviewer asked about his architecture, his role, the tech stack he used. Okay. After that, the interviewer moved into the Kafka, Spring Boots, some production scenarios. Okay. So the first question after the project discussion was how do you monitor application connections and identify failing connection? So Abhijit talked about the tools he generally depends on for this. Okay. And the expected answer would be we should use actuator health endpoints, metrics for connection pool stats, and along with monitoring tools like Prometheus and Grafana for dashboard and alerts. Right. Application and pool logs also shows failed or timed out connections. Right, we should also set up alerts on pool usage and failed connection count so issues get caught early. Are you getting my point? Then guys, he asked how would you handle duplicate message sent by a Kafka producer. So guys, this is a common one at his experience level, and the expected answer would be we have to first enable the idempotent producer setting so retries don't create duplicates. This is the first thing, right? On the consumer side, make the processing idempotent too using a unique message key or a dedupe table, right? So even if a duplicate does arrive, processing it twice doesn't cause issues. Okay. Next question was how would you troubleshoot a Kafka consumer that is unable to consume message? So this is an important question. So answer this type of question step by step rather than a single answer. Okay. Expected answer would be first we have to check consumer group status and lag first, right? Then check if the consumer is even a part of the group, right? Or stuck rebalancing. Then check network connectivity to the broker, topic partition assignment, and whether the consumer is paused or blocked on a slow downstream call. Okay. And then guys, he then followed up with how would you handle a Kafka consumer that continuously fails while processing messages. So guys, the expected answer would be we should use retry with backup for transient errors, right? If it keeps failing, send the message to a dead letter topic so it doesn't block the rest of the queue, right? We should also log the failure with enough context to debug later and alert the team so it gets looked at. Okay. After that, guys, he asked what is Spring Boot actuator and how would you use it to monitor us live application health and connection. So the actuator exposes production ready endpoints like health, metrics, and info to monitor a running application, right? We can check database and connection pool health, memory usage, and custom health indicators. It's usually hooked up to monitoring tools like Prometheus, so metric gets tracked over time. Okay. He then turned to how does Spring Boot auto configuration work internally, like conditional on class annotation and conditional on missing bean annotation. So guys, this is important question. So basically here guys, interviewer just wanted to know your Spring Boot skills, and the expected answer would be that Spring Boot scans auto configuration classes listed in the auto configuration dot imports file, right? Each class only activates if its condition matches, like conditional on class if a dependency is on the class path, right? Or conditional on missing bean if we haven't already defined our own bean, right? This lets Spring Boot configure things automatically but still let us override. Okay. Then guys, he gave a scenario your Spring Boot application service is throwing connection pool exhausted error in production. So how would you diagnose this pool issue? So first we have to check active versus idle connections in the pool matrix. Look for connections that are not being released, usually a missing clause or a long running query, right? Then check pool size against actual load and look at the slow query logs to see if the queries are holding connections too long. Okay. Last question of this round was, is there a functional difference between component service and repository annotation, or is it purely semantic? This is important question. So basically all three stereotypes of component annotation. So functionally they are mostly the same for the bean detection, right? But repository adds one real difference. It enables automatic exception translation, converting database specific exceptions into Spring's data access exception, right? Whereas service and component annotations are purely semantic, just for readability. Okay. Now, guys, let's start with the round three. And in this round, Abhijit said the tone was more conversational rather than an interview. Okay, since this interview was like a formality and not a real technical interview, so I am not gonna answer this question. And we know answer of manager question vary from person to person. Okay. So the first question of this round was, a teammate wants NoSQL for scalability for a service that needs strong consistency and joins. How do you make the call? So this is where the interviewer wanted to see if he chooses stack based on requirements or based on hype, right? Next, he asks, a legacy partner only supports SOAP, but your teammate's standard is REST. So how would you avoid duplicating logic? Then he asked a scenario question. Your teammates deploying a Spring Boot service to EC2 for the first time. What would be your pre-production setup? Right. And in the answer of this question, mention monitoring and our rollback plans specifically. Most people forget these two. Okay. Next question was, walk me through the most complex technical problem you have solved. Right. Pick one clear example from your experience and explain it in structured way, step by step way. That's it. Right. Then he asked, your idea is opposed by both your teammate and manager. How would you handle it? Next was, describe a production incident you were involved in, your role and what you learned. Okay. Then he asked, where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years and how does this role fit? And guys, the last question was for this manager round, why Mastercard? So answer this question specific to company rather than a generic answers. Okay. And that's it. Guys, Abhijit cleared all 3 rounds and got his offer from Mastercard. Guys, if you found this video helpful, hit the like button and drop the comment telling me which company or topic you want me to cover in the next video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe now, because I keep bringing real interview experiences just like this one. Okay. All the best for your interviews. Thank you. Bye bye.